What's going on, everybody? What's going on? This is Leonard Miles, aka 2 Degrees in the CDL. I got my glasses on today. Yeah, I switched between my glasses and my contacts. Yeah, brother is blind, so yeah, we in the glasses today. But we're gonna go ahead and get straight to the news on this Sunday morning. This article was done about a week ago, as you all can see, Thursday, February the 1st, 2024. It's talking about FMCSA, and fraud going on with the testing when it comes to the students want to get their CDL. I don't know if you all have looked at the video that I did this past week when I was talking about how the state of Massachusetts, they have some issues going on with a few of their former state patrol officers, doing some fraudulent stuff when it comes to the CDL school and the testing part. So let's go ahead and get right to it to see what's going on today. All right, so agency's proposal also relaxes test standards to help carriers that use team drivers. And I've read this article all the way through, and I definitely have my opinions, but I definitely want to know what you all think about it as well. Okay. Trucking regulators have attempted to address the potential for fraud as part of a slate of proposed new CDL testing revisions that safety advocates claim could make the roads less safe. Some of the revisions included in the notice of proposed rulemaking, expected to be published Friday by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA, stem from temporary waivers that FMCSA provided in response to the pandemic. They are also based partly on the petition submitted by the American Trucking Associations in July 2020. The rulemaking proposes easing current CDL testing regulations by allowing commercial learners permit holders who have passed the CDL skills test to operate a truck without having the CDL holder in the passenger seat, expanding the CDL applicant's ability to take a skills test in a state other than the state in which they live, and eliminating the requirement that an applicant wait at least 14 days after being issued a commercial learner's permit to take the CDL skills test. So I see CDL skills test, and what I'm thinking in the back of my mind, because I went to CDL school almost 2 years ago, is when you're doing all three. You're doing the pre-trip as part of your skills test, you're doing the maneuvers as part of your skills test, and you're doing the road test as part of your skill test. All that comprises the skill test, in my opinion. So if you take out one of those and you're only doing two, that's not enough to get your CDL. Or if you take out two and you just leave one for the driver for the student to do, that's not the entire CDL training. So with that, you can already tell that it's going to be some issues out here on this road, because if you don't know how to do all three of those, doing your pre-trip, doing your maneuvers, and being able to drive on the road, in the efficient manner, you're going to fail. And this is definitely unsafe practices. The rules that are being put in place by rule makers who don't understand what it takes to be out on this road is definitely alarming. Is definitely dangerous. It's dangerous. So to water down the CDL process just to get students out there because we were a shortage of drivers, it's going to be a detriment to the industry. Hence, this is why they're talking about autonomous trucks, electrical trucks, self-driving trucks, and all of a sudden now you want to water down the process, for students to get a CDL. But we also know that in the background somewhere, these self-driving trucks, this is the narrative that's still being pushed. I definitely don't like this idea. I think it's definitely dangerous. And I think it takes away from what the CDL students need to learn, which is how to do all three. You need to be able to do the pre-trip, for when you're testing out. You need to be able to do your maneuvers when you're testing out, and you need to be able to do the road test. Okay, let's continue to read. FMCSA is also proposing to require third-party knowledge examiners be subject to the same training and certification that currently applies to state knowledge examiners. In addition, third-party knowledge testers would be subject to the auditing requirements that currently apply to third-party skill testers. So, I'm not a examiner. Like I said, I'm not a CDL trainer. I'll tag CDL Shorty in this just to see what he thinks, because I know he's a CDL trainer as well. So I'll tag him in this video just to see, what he feels about these changes. The changes related to the third-party knowledge examiners and skills testers include anti-fraud protections that FMCSA told lawmakers last year it would need to put in place before issuing the rulemaking. The NPRM would add a new requirement that third-party knowledge testing be administered electronically and securely to minimize the opportunity for negligence or fraud that may exist when knowledge tests are administered on the paper, the rulemaking states. Federal regulations would be changed to require the third-party skills and knowledge testers initiate and maintain a bond in an amount determined by the state to be sufficient to pay for retesting drivers in the event that the third party or one or more of its examiners is involved in fraudulent activities related to conducting skills testing of applicants for CDL, according to the proposal. And like I told you all before, please go back and view my video when I was talking about the state of Massachusetts. They had a few state troopers that were basically doing pay for favors. You pay me X amount of dollars or you get this done. You don't have to take, your CDL test. So please go back and view that video because there's fraud going on in this industry. It was not only the state troopers, but also with one of the instructors from the CDL school. To administer knowledge tests, third-party knowledge examiners would be required to take a 20-hour training course every 3 years. FMCSA noted, adding that there is not a specific skill set required to be a knowledge test examiner, and many different occupations could proctor knowledge test exams. So you're saying that experience is not needed to be an examiner for a CDL test. So you're telling us that our examiners who may not have ever, so there's a possibility that you may have examiners who've never been in trucking being the examiners. Okay. Carrier stand to gain. Okay, let's read this. Current law allows CLP holders to operate a truck only while undergoing behind the wheel training and as long as a CDL holder is in the front seat of the vehicle directly supervising the driver training. One of the proposed revisions, however, would allow CLP holders who have passed the CDL skills test to operate a motor vehicle for any reason, and the CDL holder would only need to be present somewhere in the truck without having to supervise the training. Once again, they have to clarify what they're talking about as far as skills tests, because my definition of skills test is when you're doing, your pre-trip test, your maneuver test, and your road test. So if one of those are taken out, or you're taking out two of them, you shouldn't be getting your CDL. The proposal would result in cost savings for motor carriers and drivers because after the CLP holder passes a skills test, the CDL holder would be allowed to rest in the sleeper berth, thereby saving on duty time under the hours of service rules that would otherwise be lost riding in the passenger seat, overseeing the CLP holder. And once again, CLP stands for Commercial Learning Permit, FMCSA states. The proposed change would therefore allow the CLP holder with proof of a passing CDL skills test to operate the vehicle in a wage earning capacity. FMCSA supported this proposed revision by citing regulatory exemptions it has issued and reissued to trucking company CR England and CRST, the Transportation Solution, Inc., determining that safety was not undermined by the exemptions. Safety advocates fire back. But exemptions handed out by FMCSA to current regulations that the agency is now looking to make permanent through its rulemaking have been vigorously opposed by truck safety groups. Referring specifically to CRST's most recent exemption, the Truck Safety Coalition, an accident victim advocacy group, pointed out that the trucking company provided a paucity of data, 3 months with zero comparison data over the 7 years it operated under the exemption, and with zero proof it did not adversely affect safety, and plenty of data points that suggest safety may have been compromised. The group told FreightWaves when asked to comment on the NPRM. FMCSA's decision to grant the ATA's petition for CDL flexibility is a stain on the agency responsible for ensuring motor carrier safety. I agree, said TSC Executive Director Zach Callahan. No estimation of negative safety impacts is attempted in its cost-benefit analysis. TSC and its crash victims forcefully believe FMCSA has a mandate to estimate the safety risks and costs of every proposed rulemaking. If FMCSA is unwilling to take this requirement seriously, meaningful progress to zero fatalities will be unfortunately stuck in neutral. And comments on the NPRM are due by April 2nd. So let's just talk about it once again. Let's just put it blank and simple. FMCSA wants to water down the process for CDL students, and this is definitely not a smart idea. You're going to see a lot of accidents out here on this road because when you don't know how to do everything properly in that truck, you know it's going to come back to bite you in the end. And FMCSA, they're not going to sit back and point the finger at themselves, even though they're making the rules. But at the end of the day, you're definitely held liable because you're watering down a process that definitely shouldn't be watered down. We're operating big, heavy machinery out here. Let's be clear, like, everybody doesn't need to be behind that wheel. I understand that a lot of people may want to get their CDLs, but when you water down the process and you nip and tuck the process, like I said, you're asking for trouble. But this is just my opinion. I definitely feel like, if you're not doing all 3 phases of testing out for your CDL, which is a pre-trip, maneuvers, and the road test, you're wrong. But you all let me know what you think. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this video and provide feedback. And as always, I appreciate it. And I'm out.